The big thing I want to show you here that's shutting us down, it is stuck. This is my 1952 International Harvester L120 pickup truck. Dump bed with hydraulic hoist, full floater rear axle, 4-speed transmission, 220 cubic inch silver diamond straight six, and we're gonna see if we can drive it for the first time in years. It's attached to the 78 Jeep J truck right now via this chain. Let's get it in the building. Let's see what happens. We got it running in a previous video. Now let's see if we can drive it. 50-50. I'm gonna reattach this chain to the truck for a safety chain, because when we get over this hump into the building, if the International wants to roll away all footloose and fancy free, it will be tethered to the J20 plow truck and won't be able to go anywhere. Easy does it. Easy does it. We don't want the International, I can't talk. We don't want the International to crash into anything. A little bit more push. A little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. Okay, now I'm going to turn the wheel. Yeah, man. Everything's going all right. Now, just as long as you remind me to unhook the chain from the truck before we drive away. But first we're going to push in a little bit more. Now I'm going to take a peek at this. Okay, just making sure it's still good and we're not going to ruin anything more than it already is on the front of this truck. Final nudge, just a teeny bit more. Okay, I would say right about there. Oh, perfect, just in time. Don't worry, everything's fine. The damage that was there was already there. I know the marks, the witness marks line right up, but believe me, I could not do something like that to the old 52. Pre-damage, done before us, we're good. The only thing I did in this moving of the 52 that I don't approve of is just a moment ago when we had the steer tires turned all the way to the right and I was pushing in that last little bit. We were kind of skidding a little bit. That's not very nice treatment, if you know what I mean, but I think we're gonna be okay. Just for OCD's sake. That's better. Well, step number one is getting the whole hood off. Or we could just open it because we can do one side at a time. We can open just the driver's side or the passenger side, but we're gonna take the whole Monty off here. And I'm gonna put a pair of gloves on because they're frozen. I also keep switching back and forth between hat and beanie, but the 10 degrees Fahrenheit that it was seems to be getting colder. So, all right, so we want to be careful here so we don't damage this hood. So just a little bit at a time here. I mean, it's not like we could damage this hood. This is a heavy-duty piece of machinery here, but we're not going to abuse anything. There we go. We'll just work this back and forth. There we go. All right, now we'll take it off. Well, I guess there's more room over here. Don't look at my belly button. It's not a pretty sight. So this is the 220 cubic inch silver diamond, approximately 90 horsepowers. And I've given you the whole skinny, all the details on this whole truck before, or at least have scratched the surface in the first video ever here in Freeman's Garage with this truck, linked in the description. Watch that one after this if you want to get all those details. And let's see, so what do we need to do to drive this? Well, we need to see if it's going to start again, which I'm sure it will. We need to check the radiator. We're going to need to put some coolant in. Well, we'll drain what's in there if there's anything in there. We'll put some fresh coolant in there. We're going to put some fresh oil in here. And we need a fuel system, so we'll see if we can get the fuel pump pumping. If not, we'll figure out another fuel system. But that's pretty much all we need, which could be more than it sounds like. But if all goes swimmingly, we'll be driving this truck on the road in no time. All right. Drain plug, where are you at again? Okay. Very bottom, towards the back. It's an International, so it's a big honker. Excuse me for a second. Really is getting cold. You thought 10 degrees was cold. It's probably 5 now. All right, baby gonna be warm now. We'll crawl under there in just a second, pull the plug and start draining the oil. Who knows what's really in there? Anybody could have put anything in that canister. We'll find out when we take it apart. I'm gonna go in from the side. Boy, it sure is a big old drain plug. Gotta love that. These trucks were built very heavy. Oh, very, very heavy. No spare on the material. There's not a piece of plastic on this truck, and everything's very thick, robust, and heavy. Okay. Well, it's good to know you aren't loose. Let's try again. Oh, oh man. Oh man. That sucker was on there. That's the way we like it. Okay, let's see what happens here. That's a big old tractor size hole too. Look at all that black gold. All right, we'll let that just sit and do its thing. And let's start draining the radiator. And here's something that's not fun about not having a concrete floor, is you got to deal with stuff like this. But what do you do? There's nothing in it. There is a drain down here. Let's open it and see if anything comes out though. Well, come on, drain. Why are you so against opening yourself? This is a good thing, drain. This is gonna be good. There we go. Got it. It's a little something coming out. Does that look green to you? Oh yeah, it does. We'll get a bucket. It's actually good green too. You know what? I think we'll stop draining it. I mean, look at this. That's pretty good looking, clean and mean green if I ever seen it. Came right out of that there valve. Now yeah, it's definitely not full because there's nothing in here. You can't see anything. But look at that. So why would we drain out the rest of what's in there and then pour new stuff in when that looks fine? I told you, if you haven't seen, go back after this video, watch the first video that's linked in the description with this truck, where we looked around it and we figured out that this thing, somebody's probably had this running and driving in the last 20 years. I mean, who knows, but that's what the evidence shows. That's good coolant. I close that. Let's just top it off. Let's just put a gallon of straight coolant in here. We'll go from there. So we'll put this in and then we'll add some water. And we'll see how, well, we'll just see how things work out. Oh yeah, drink it up. Drink up that good stuff. Not as green as the stuff that came out of the drain though. That must have been Prestone. Okay, well she just drank a full gallon of straight coolant. Let's get our monies out of this jug here. Ah, spilt one drop. Dang it. Well, that's slowly going down, working its way through the path of least resistance. So let's let that settle. We'll go underneath, put that drain plug back in the oil pan, and then we'll see if we can't squeeze a gallon of water in here. Make the, try to keep this coolant mix 50, if you know what I mean, eh? Can't feel my hands. She took 1 full gallon of water, and you know, guys had to kind of make a choice because this is actually the water to flush the toilet. So, you know, you pour it all in the radiator and yeah, you know how that could end up. But she's pretty much just about full after putting that gallon of water in. So the radiator's good for now. We'll wait until the engine's running and everything gets up to operating temperature, and we'll see how it settles down, and we'll add from there. So now let's take this apart and clean this out. We'll see how that goes. We'll see what's actually shoved inside there. And then we will talk about the fuel tank and what we're going to do for a fuel source. And yeah, that's something special. You never can tell what you're going to find. Let's actually pull this plug wire off. Get that out of our way. Now, we're either going to clean this up with, well, if it's what's technically supposed to be in here, we're either going to clean it up with some kerosene / diesel fuel, which is what we're running in that heater there, or we'll just use some carb cleaner. Okay, well, that looks fine. And what do we got in there? Oh, well, that's a surprise. There's nothing in here. It's empty. Nothing in here. Got a little carb cleaner in my eyeball there. I'm just verifying the cartridge number. I mean, it's not like you find them on the shelf at Wally World, but let's just verify what this one says, and we'll see if we can't figure out a filter or cartridge of any type. And I'm not cleaning this the way I would at the Freeman's Garage, Texas location, because, well, it's a little cold here. So we're not doing full restoration level on the oil filter lid. That's a summer project. You just got to calculate how much frostbite you want versus how clean you want your part. Deluxe Products Corporation, LaPorte, Indiana. Use Gulf TAC 102 cover gasket. Use Charlie Union cartridge. Well, there's only one place I know of that we can get this filter, and we're gonna have to special order it. The soonest it could be here is tomorrow. That's a possibility. I mean, I don't want to bet on my own horses here, but we could probably get it tomorrow. I'll have to make the telephone call to find out if it can come in on the truck tomorrow. Hopefully that is so. Why don't I do that right now? Well, the man says that the filter's available and it should be here tomorrow morning, and you got to roll with the punches in this business. So let's do everything we can shy of seeing if the engine will start like it did for us in the previous video with this truck. And that way, when we get the filter in the morning, if the filter fits, then we're ready to go. So one thing we want to do is clean this filter canister out. Now, on a Chevrolet, there would most likely be a plug. You'd stick a 9/16 wrench on, pull the plug out the bottom, and get about a quarter of a quart of oil out. And in this case, there's only about this much oil sitting in here, and I don't think there is a drain. I'm not 100% sure. I don't feel one. I mean, there could be, I'm just missing it. So let's just wipe this out. You know, I need a bucket. I think this refrigerated whole dills pickles bucket will do the trick. You know, need a step stool every now and then. Helps on the Helps on the, you know, helps so you don't have to climb on everything. Pretty clean in here. That's a good sign. It's always a good sign when your oil canisters are clean. 5 gallons of dill pickles. I suppose if you run a sandwich shop, I don't know what you'd be doing with that in your house. I mean, unless maybe you're a dill family, you know? Maybe you're dill people. Maybe you are having a family reunion and you're dill people. You know, some people only drink soft drinks out of cans. You know, some people are can men. They're can people. Some people are bottle people. I would say that I'm a can man, but yet you cannot compete with the convenience of a plastic screw-on cap. Yeah, I'd say that's pretty good. That'll do her. Can't complain about that. Put our cap back on here. Our cover. Keep the debris out of here. There we go. That's good. All right, let's fill her up with some oil. Swipe the dipstick off. Make sure this is all clean. Good to go, because we're going to need to check our oil level here as we fill it. Now, I have read in 1952 International Harvester literature, that's a big word, got it out in one try, that the oil capacity of this 220 cubic inch silver diamond is 7 quarts. I would think more around 5.5 quarts, but you know, they might be taking into consideration our large filter, which is going to take up a lot of oil, although it drains right back into the crankcase. The filter does not hold any oil after the engine shuts down. It all drains back down into the crankcase, into the oil pan. So what we're going to do is we're going to play it safe, and let's just dump a gallon in and see what it shows us on the stick, if it's the correct stick. Look at all the oil that came out of this thing though. All right, here comes the 1540 diesel. And we're not going to use a funnel because I don't know what that is. Shoot, we might actually want a funnel because this is not gonna, yeah, this is not gonna go well. Actually, maybe it will go well. Possibly. Oh. Yeah, that's okay. Ended up not being as bad as I thought it was gonna be. So this is a gallon, so that's 4 quarts. So we should be safe to just dump this whole gallon in. But did we bring the blinker fluid? Well, as long as we have exhaust fluid, it'll be fine. You know, we could just dump this into the canister that the oil filter sits in, but it would take a long time to drain down because it's kind of a smaller orifice. Okay, that's a gallon. We're gonna get the very last drop. Takes a little bit longer to flow in these cold temperatures. Okay, we're gonna wipe all our little bit of mess off because we care. All right, so I was playing around with some new audio equipment to elevate your audio experience in Freeman's garage, and yeah, I messed up and the audio did not record, so here I am doing a voiceover for you. I'm holding 2 filters for you I got. I don't know what happened there, that's kind of weird. I think I'm explaining about how one filter is technically for a Mercedes-Benz and the other works for things like my 1948 Chevrolets with 216s and 235s. That one right there, the 1398, that's the one that the book technically says it's for a Benz, but something led me and the gentleman at the parts counter to want to try it out for this 52 international application. And well, yeah, when it came in, it was pretty clear that it was not going to work, but we still give it a shot here just to quadruple check it. And note the amazing handles that come in the oil filters. So this one here, this one is, so I brought up 48 Chevrolet. This filter works great for that. Technically, not the exact Reno filter for that, but they do work for me. Okay, so now I don't remember what I was saying here. I don't think it really mattered anyways. I probably wasn't making much sense. Okay, so there is the Mercedes-Benz filter. And oh, now I got the other filter out. Oh, and side note, so these are Napa Gold filters. Did you know that Napa Gold oil filters, they are Wix filters? Fun fact. And I don't know what I was doing. I don't know why I held that up. You know what, in fact, I think we're done here. I think I'm just comparing the size. So let's just cut this and let's move forward. There I am showing off the amazing handles. Gotta love them. And I think I was just doing more blabbing and blabbing. You know, it really is a shame that the new audio equipment, that I wasn't using it right. I didn't have something plugged in properly. And that's why it didn't record audio through all this. And it's just such a shame because, I mean, such pieces of gold. I was dropping knowledge and info. Okay, I'm trying it that way, which obviously that's not gonna fit. And that doesn't make a lot of sense. But there is a handle on both ends for a reason. And why did I, oh, I gotta use the handle that I don't really need. The handles are, you know, really come in handy when everything's covered in oil in there. Which in this case, right now, at this momento, it is not. But yeah, that's definitely not going to fit. So we put that back in the box, and then I did return that and got my moolah back. And I'm sure here I was just going on and on and on about how I put these in Chevys, even though it's technically not the right filter, blah, 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 blah. And the neat thing here is oil comes up through that big tube, you could call it, in the center there, pressurized oil, and it goes through a hole in the bolt and then down around the filter. Okay, now here we are at a different angle, trying to put this in, and it is pretty much perfect. But at this point, I don't think I was quite convinced of that yet, which is probably why I'm taking 10 hours to install an oil filter. But hey, that's how it goes. You can see the cold air coming, my breath, see my breath. Okay, here I'm showing off that hole in that bolt. That's part of the, on top of that cover, there's that big handle, that's one piece. And there's a hole through there, and then it comes out underneath that perforated top. That's how it's, okay, well, here I'm explaining what I already explained. So the pressurized oil comes up through that big hole in the center and then goes through that hole in that bolt, which is our handle for the cover, and then goes down around the oil filter, and it finds its way back through the little drain line that goes back to the crankcase. And I was probably explaining to you here about how the gasket on the cover is still good, or appears to be good. And we did get a cover gasket with this 1100 Napa Gold Wix, but it's way too big for this canister. And oh boy, what was I doing here? Oh, I think we're gonna top off the oil. Is what we're doing here. So I'm using the measurements on the jug to make sure that we got, you know, we're putting in a quarter at a time. And I think what was I doing? Well, nothing important. I'm pretty sure we... Oh, did I already... Oh, maybe I mentioned this later in the audio works. I'm not sure, but I think we ended up with 6 quarts. And like a fool, I didn't write that down because I didn't think the audio was going to be inaudible. What was I pointing at? I don't know. I'm sure it doesn't matter. And I'm saying, well, I'm showing you the fuel pump here. I'm probably telling you, maybe I'm going over the... Was I going? Yep, I'm going over the fuel system here. This is about a week later here that I'm doing the voiceover. So, okay, yep, I think I'm just showing you that we're going to put fuel line on the fuel pump. And we're going to discover if the fuel pump works, that is. That's one of the goals here in this video. We're going to hook it up to this boat tank line. We're going to take the boat tank ends off and use the primer ball, which is going to be pretty... It's going to be mega sweet. And what was funny here? I have no idea. Okay. I feel like I'm gonna... I was just saying, I feel like I'm gonna hurt myself here, and I did. I guess I know myself better than I thought I know myself. Okay, so we're setting up the fuel system here. And by the way, this voiceover, I am doing this all in one take so far. This is the first try in the first take. Just going off of memory here and from what I've seen. So I think I'm telling you here that everything's gonna work perfect. No, I think I was probably telling you that there's a glass fuel filter bowl on the bottom side of the fuel filter with a filter in it. Oh, here I come with a 6-volt battery. Installing it. There's really not much of a battery tray left in this truck. It's all kind of rusted out. And the previous owner put some sort of plastic, hard plastic tray down there. And here I'm probably saying, can I do this without hurting myself? And I think yeah. Oh, and then that's when I noticed that we're missing a fan belt. Well, if we're gonna drive this thing, which is what we're trying to do, it's not gonna happen without a fan belt. We need the water pump to turn for Coolidge. And I found 2 fan belts in this bed. I don't remember the length of that bed, but I think it's a 9-footer, something like that. Huge dump bed with the hydraulic hoist. And, okay, I just showed you one belt was chewed up by mice, which is typical in barn, farm, building environments. Especially in the winter, they like to come in and stay warm. And this belt, if you notice, these belts they're really wide, and the pulleys are really wide. And this one looks like it's going to be a perfect fit. And I have no idea. This belt was just in the back of the truck. It just was in there when I bought it. And so I was just showing you how we need to get a pry bar and pry on the generator to get the belt tight so we can tighten it up. And I think I just explained to you there that I cleaned the vents off on the vented oil fill cap, and then I put it back on. And now I'm taking off the oil bath air cleaner, which is full of oil. Oh, I'm trying not to spill that everywhere. I think I just put the spark plug wire back on that we took off earlier, putting some gas in the carb, and then it comes out from past every gasket. Oh, you could drive across the country like that. Just bring a fire extinguisher. Okay, here we go. We are about to fire this beast up. And it's such a shame about the audio because, you know, you don't get to hear what the engine sounded like when it popped off. I think I just gave it away. It popped off, right? Which, well, just keep watching. Subscribe! That's my trick to get you to subscribe. Actually, that makes no sense. Why would that get you to subscribe? But if you do, it helps the channel grow. And now I'm cranking, or I was cranking, now I'm not in there anymore. And I opted to stick with the factory push button starter on the dash instead of using the remote starter switch from the outside. Oh, okay, so this water leak, this was a water leak, and then I noticed that that bolt wasn't tight for the bracket. And then I showed you where all the gas is leaking out of the carburetor. And then now I got you perched up here watching for spark because the thing won't start. It's not, actually I don't think it even popped. It's just turning over. Good thing the distributor turns though, but no spark. Alright, and then so it's the next day, and I did actually verify this morning that there was some spark. Well, there was spark. And so we're gonna try to get it to pop, boom, bang, and actually run. Oh, see? Got a pop and a backfire. Now I'm making sure the carburetor's tight, and I'm about to check all the screws, make sure they're tight, so because that could cause a lean condition and a backfire. And I'm showing you this. I discovered this is a vacuum line, presumably for vacuum powered windshield wipers, and I fixed that. It got all melted and cut up somehow, but that's fixed. And yep, she turned over but wouldn't start. And now I'm just making sure everything's all tight and all our spark plugs and whatnot. Spark plug wires are on tight. So far we know we have spark. Oh, okay, here we go. I took the carburetor off. We got spark, but no poppage. And we are about to get back into some audio. So thanks for hanging in there through the voiceover. The wind picked up, the temperature dropped, and the snowflakes started to fall. So just like that Joe Nichols song, got an extra layer on. Let me get some of this crud out of here, and then I'll show you. Even just a little teeny grain of sand size material can clog up a little passageway. And even after wiping out this float bowl, there can be anything down in there. But the big thing I want to show you here that's shutting us down is that's the accelerator pump right there. It is stuck, and the well is filthy even after wiping it out. And if that's stuck, that means it can't go up and down and it can't pump fuel, which means there's nothing we can do. I know a source where I can get a rebuild kit for this Zenith 10738 single barrel carburetor, manufactured sometime between 1920, 1930-ish and 1980-ish. But the big challenge is that it's Christmas Eve, so we're not getting it today. It's a bummer, it's a letdown. Should have known better. Maybe, maybe not. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. But you know what they say. Suspense heightens the senses. Right? They do say that, right? This is a good thing because we probably shouldn't be driving this truck in a blizzard anyways. Two-wheel drive, you know what I mean? And plus, it gives us an opportunity to properly clean this Zenith carburetor out properly and thoroughly to ensure our chances of success when we rebuild it and put it back together. And it would just be doing the Zenith justice. We don't want to cut corners. This 1952 International L120, this is an international harvester. This is a binder, okay? This company makes tractors. This thing's heavy duty. It's not your little wimpy average pickup truck. Full floating rear axle. This isn't a dinky little 8-foot bed. This thing is huge. After we rebuild the carburetor and we do our first drive in this truck finally, we're going to engage the PTO and we're going to see if the hoist works. That's a dump bed. You know what I'm talking about? See, here is, this is for the PTO. That's how you engage it. And then this right here, okay, this is to go up and down. So there's a position this way, there's a position this way, and then there's a neutral position. So the bed goes just like that. And make sure you put it down before you leave the field, or you might take out the power lines, you know, that kind of sort of thing. Questions, comments, concerns can be put below. Thanks for watching, subscribing, sharing, liking, hitting the arrow button, share these videos out to help Freeman's Garage grow. And I'm gonna go eat some ham, and you can watch the video that's on your screen right now. But boy, this is disappointing. 50-50.